Assalamu alaikum. Today class, we were going to discuss about our third poem, that is The Loveliest of Trees, the Cherry Now. Now, it is one of the most beautiful poem. The reason for that is of its aestheticness. Let's start now. This is the third poem of our poem section. As you can see from the picture, that in this picture, that is a cherry tree. And it looks beautiful, especially in spring. The writer also laments the idea that when he came across a cherry tree, he didn't know that how beautiful it is. The poem has been written by A.E. Houseman. He was born in 1859 and he died in 1936. He was an English classical scholar and poet. His poems center around the themes of pastoral beauty, unrequited love, fleeting youth, grief, death, and the patriotism of the common soldier. It means his poems, they reflected the love with the nature and also the shortness of the human life. The same thing which he has discussed in this poem, The Loveliest of the Trees, the Cherry Now. The theme consists of the major 2 points, that is the nature, the importance of nature, and the shortness of life. That the human life is actually quite short, that any person could not spend his entire life, or even if he spends his entire life by looking at the nature, by looking at the beautiful things that are around him, it would not be enough. Let us start, but before that, let us discuss about the main idea of the poem. The main idea or the message of the poem is that the poet gives vent to his feelings about the beauty of the cherry, that is the loveliest of trees, to him, and he laments a short-lived life of the man in the world. The poet is captivated by the beauty of cherry tree. The first stanza, loveliest of trees, the cherry now, is hung with bloom along the bough, and stands about the woodland bright, wearing white for Easter tide. Now, in the stanza, the first thing that you have to keep in mind is the stanza. And in the stanza, there is a word Easter. Now, what is Easter? Easter is a festival of Christian. On Easter, the Christian members, the Christian members, they celebrate the death and the death of the Christ and the return of him. They also call it as All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, and it is celebrated on the first Sunday after the full moon, subsequent to the spring equinox. Now, in this first stanza, the poet says, and he expresses his love for nature. He is fascinated by the beauty of the cherry tree. जब वो चेरी ट्री को देखता है और वो देखता है कि वो चेरी ट्री जो है इट इज fully bloomed, it means वो खिला हुआ है, उस पे फूल लगे हुए हैं. The flowers are hung on its bough. It is fully covered with flowers. It seems that the cherry is fully dressed. It has worn the dress to celebrate the Easter. Now, as I have told you, that Easter is the festival of the Christian, in which it is a time of the rebirth and the spring. The cherry tree is ready to welcome the Easter. Loveliest of Tree, the Cherry Now, is one of the finest examples of Houseman's lyrical poems. Now, in stanza number 2, as you can see, it is written before you. And in this stanza, first you have to keep in mind few of the words such as the 60 years and 10. Now, 60 years and 10. What is 60 years and 10? 60 years and 10, because of all, as I'm sure that you have remembered The lesson Clearing in the Sky, in which Judge Father also talks about 70 and 10. According to the Christian belief, this is the average life a human has on this earth. It means 70 years. The poet says that he laments the short span of man's life under the sun, noting that he is noting that he is 20 years old. He estimates that about 55 years of his life are left. And a half century is not really a long time. So the writer is quite saddened on the fact that he has a short life to look at all the beautiful things around him, especially the cherry tree. And he says that only 50 years are remaining and it is not enough to admire the beauty of nature. In stanza 3, the poet says, again, he laments the shortness of life and says that the life is too short to enjoy the beauty of cherry. He feels sad that 50 years is not very long to behold the beauty in its full bloom. There is always a discomfort of knowing that life has no real permanence, and that is inevitable. But what does he want to do with all the time that he has left? He wants again to go to the cherry trees and to admire the beauty of the nature that is around him. He further says that he doesn't want to waste his single moment in life again in which he is not admiring the beauty, the nature that is spreading all around. And it also gives us a lesson, students. What lesson? The lesson is that we should always take our life as a precious thing, and we should also enjoy the beauty that is around us. And I hope that you enjoyed the lesson today and understood it well. Allah Hafiz.